Sivaya Dohadevan, everyone. Wonderful to be with you today. Hope you all were able to watch our live streaming of the Yerevan Temple Crystal Lingam installation instead of our Zoom Satsang last time. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadi Tamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Our Merchants have a Ganesha Homa today, so that's why they're not with us. And we'll start with sharing the screen. And we have April 2nd. Our first topic, Publisher's Desk from 2021, entitled Now is a Good Time to Update Your Plans. I chose the topic as it relates to the ideas that came up in the last Zoom Satsang, in the description and the character quality of steadfastness. It's couched in terms of the ongoing pandemic, but just that only is the first few slides, and it didn't seem like worthwhile to rewrite that. The COVID-19 pandemic is proving itself a time when the daily difficulties faced by individuals and families are far greater than usual. Under the stresses of lockdown, masks, and social distancing, life may be overly focused on the current moment's challenges without giving adequate thought to the future. Seeing these dynamics inspires me to suggest we set aside time to establish goals for what we want to be doing when the pandemic is over. That done, we can put in motion the supporting plans that will make those goals achievable. So this is an important point, that when disruptive events happen in our lives, major disruptive events, it can cause us to shorten our planning. We're so directed toward handling the present that we cut back on our planning for the future. But once the event is over, we may not expand back our planning to cover the future. That's the idea. So we always want to make sure, except when we're in the middle of a major disruptive event, that our plans are long enough. Because good plans take years to manifest sometimes. Even a major pilgrimage can take a couple of years to plan. The need for goals and plans applies to you personally, all your family members, your workplace, and any nonprofit you are involved in, temple or otherwise. One reason this is particularly important is that post-pandemic life is not going to be identical to pre-pandemic life. Important changes will have taken place, and goals and plans need to take that into account. What kind of changes? Remote working will be more common, and children's education may need extra attention to compensate for the limitations of months of online study. Temples may face restrictions on large gatherings for some time to come, which brings a need to develop alternative spiritual activities. My Guru divided the planning process into 4 steps. He wrote a sutra which states, Shiva's devotees approach each enterprise with deliberate thoughtfulness and act only after careful consideration. They succeed in every undertaking. So, Question to you, how did they succeed in every undertaking? You'll recall there's 4 steps to it. First we do this, then we do this, then we do this, and then finally that. 4 steps to succeeding in every undertaking. What are they? And they all start with a P. Clear purpose, wise plan, persistence, and push. Or purpose, plan, persistence, and push. Let's look first at the idea of clear purpose. Another term for purpose is goal. The next slide lists the 6 areas of a balanced life. What are they? So we're going to talk about goals in the 6 aspects of a balanced life. But first, the question to you is, what are the 6 aspects? Economic goals, of course, are the ones that are usually in the forefront of everyone's mind: meeting monthly needs, saving for retirement, and for the children's education. Educational goals generally are a secondary priority, and that goes for the children's secular and religious education, as well as adults acquiring new skills. Ideally, goals encompass the spiritual, social, cultural, and physiological aspects of life. Examples in each area might be spiritual: yearly pilgrimage to distant temples, learning more Hatha Yoga. Social: special family outings, participating in service or education programs. Cultural: attending performances of music, art, drama, and dance, learning a craft, an instrument, or new songs. And physiological: regular exercise, improvements to diet, home habits, and clothing, caring for the environment. So those are the 6 aspects of a balanced life, and ideally we have some goals in each of them according to how much time we can devote to them, but sometimes life gets way off balance and we skip some of them. We don't exercise, for example, for a couple of years, and that's not good for our health. Moving on from clear purpose to a wise plan, I've had opportunities over the years to talk to many people about achieving their goals and later ask if they were successful. There are many reasons for lack of success. Ooh, unhappy animal. But when it comes to a goal that is of a complicated nature, the reason for being unsuccessful is usually the lack of wise plan. The plan was not carefully thought through. It wasn't detailed enough. It was an impulse list more than a practical plan. So that's the key there. The plan is more of an impulse rather than a really thorough, step-by-step way of making something successful. When it comes to planning any complex task, it is best to consult with others. On your own, you won't necessarily be able to figure everything out. You need to talk to someone who's experienced in that field. For example, Hawaii real estate has its ups and downs. If you're thinking of buying a home in Hawaii, you should talk to people who know about Hawaii real estate. Otherwise, you can purchase at just the wrong time and suffer the consequences. In any major business venture, when you're putting your life savings on the line, it is prudent to hire a consultant to make sure you get the best advice possible. So, informal advice for something not too complex, but for something really important, should hire a consultant, be willing to pay for the plan. Persistence. The third part of the sutra is persistence. Persistence has the same meaning as the character quality from our last Zoom satsang, which was steadfastness. So there's no difference in the meaning of the two. This is using persistence, and the character workbook used steadfastness. Let's start with an example of non-persistence. You know someone with chronic back pain. They have a clear purpose. They are desperate to eliminate or at least significantly reduce the suffering. Their plan includes engaging a physical therapist who gives them exercises to do. The person does the exercises for a month and stops. Then he goes to an Ayurvedic doctor. The doctor suggests a regimen of herbs. That's easier than exercise, and he manages to take the herbs for 2 months and then slowly abandons the program. 6 months later, as the pain persists, he goes to another doctor for yet another remedy. That's human nature. We tend to have a solution in front of us, but we don't stick to it. We don't fully implement it. We lose patience and want to try another approach. Not surprisingly, we don't achieve our clear purpose. We don't eliminate back pain if we jump from one solution to the other. Of course, sometimes it is necessary to change a plan when it clearly is not working. On this, Gurudeva wrote, "Changeableness means indecision, not being decisive. How can we discriminate between this and the strength of a person who changes his or her mind in wisdom because of changes of circumstance? A person who is changeable is fickle and unsure of himself, changing without purpose or reason. Persistence describes the mind that is willing to change for mature reasons, based on new information, but holds steady to its determinations through thick and thin in the absence of such good reasons. The decision is based on wise discrimination. Having made a solid decision in the first place, only reconsider it in light of new information." Persistence or perseverance is important in overcoming obstacles. We have a great plan, clear purpose, we're moving forward, and we hit some major obstacles. In the Hindu world, it is sometimes thought, oh, Lord Ganesha is blocking the plan. I'm not supposed to do this. And we stop. Encountering an obstacle doesn't necessarily mean that you should abandon the plan. Some obstacles are best broken through, and some need more careful analysis, guided by Lord Ganesha. Intuition will guide which is which. Sometimes the problem is simply that we are being unrealistic. One of the points I often make is that the larger a project is, the more obstacles you should expect. How many obstacles has our monastery encountered in the project of building a hand-carved granite temple in Hawaii? Lots. By persisting, each barrier was overcome. Therefore, once you create a clear purpose and a wise plan, make sure you are being realistic in terms of the number of obstacles you anticipate before you start the project. Then, when obstacles come up, you can smile instead of getting discouraged. You say, oh, obstacle number 1, here you are. Welcome. It's been about 3 or 4 months since we started. That's about right. You're not surprised or disheartened. So we've got lots of stories about Yerevan Temple and the obstacles we encountered. I'll just tell you one. That's a recent photo there before we installed the crystal lingam, getting ready to do so. The Silpis went in a number of years ago, don't remember how many, into the Chennai embassy, and the Chennai embassy said, oh, Silpis don't qualify for the R1 visa anymore. What do? We can't get them approved because the law changed. So, but we didn't know that the law had changed because it really hadn't. So to sort it all out, we had to hire one of the best immigration attorneys in Washington, D.C., and she managed to sort it out and had friends in the consulate department and got them to get the right information. They got confused because a number of changes were pending but hadn't been actually made yet. So they got the pending changes and the existing law confused, it turned out. So we had to really work hard, and we didn't give up. Otherwise the temple wouldn't be finished. But that took a lot of complicated research and effort. The last concept in Gurudeva's Sutra is push. Push in this context means willpower, the ability to power something through to accomplish it. Willpower is very interesting, as we'll see. An example of lack of push is the student who wants to do well in school, who plans to get up early in the morning and study hard, but sleeps in regularly. The result, he does not excel. The plan is there, but the willpower to fulfill it is not. Willpower can be compared to a muscle. Willpower can be compared to a muscle. Muscles are so interesting. The more you use a muscle, the stronger it gets. That's not always the case. Most things go away when you use them. Take a jar of rice. You use it, you end up with an empty jar. Money, you have money in a bank account. You use it, the bank account ends up empty. But willpower is the opposite. The more you use it, the more you have to use. It's just like a muscle. It becomes stronger the more it can do. Therefore, you need to make sure you're adequately exercising your willpower. Fortunately, there are many opportunities throughout the day. Gurudeva gives a clear guideline. He says, to strengthen willpower, you need to do two things. And that's the next question to you. What are the two things you need to do to strengthen willpower? Excuse me. Finish every job you start. And do it to the best of your ability, and even a little better. That strengthens your willpower. So finish it, do it to the best of your ability, even simple tasks. That's probably what I say on the next slide. So, as Gurudev was pointing out, we have the opportunity in every action we do to accomplish something very important, strengthen our willpower. This applies to simple tasks such as washing dishes or vacuuming the carpet. In other words, it's an opportunity to strengthen our willpower by finishing the job and doing our best job, not just kind of doing the minimal. That doesn't strengthen the willpower. And the stronger the willpower, then the better able we are to accomplish what we plan. And there's another P, which Gurudeva added in some of his writings, and that's prayer. He wrote, be sure to initiate your wise plan with prayer. In other words, go to the temple and have an archana done, for example, to Lord Ganesha, and start the activity out with religious blessings. We recently went through the pujas to install the crystal. Oh, let's see, we had 6 days, morning and afternoon. Oh, that's 12 sessions, and every one of them, Lord Ganesha got his puja right as the first item. So the puja done in the morning didn't count. We had to start all over again in the afternoon. So the priests definitely believe in this principle. Start with Ganesha. It is also helpful, particularly for major activities, to begin on an auspicious day. Hindu astrology can provide information as to which days are auspicious in which days are inauspicious for starting new endeavors. So the rainbow there over Erevan Temple, if you look, if your photo is big enough, you can see Erevan Temple in the middle. Rainbow is a symbol. It's a double rainbow there, very faint. Happens a few times a year, double rainbows. The rainbow is a symbol of auspiciousness. So, for example, the auspicious time for the crystal lingam installation was in the morning on the 6th day. There's a period there, 10-something in the morning, that astrology says that was the moment good for starting temples. And we noticed a number of other temples started on the same time period, so they were using the same astrological analysis. So it was a great time for starting a temple. A clear purpose, wise plan, persistence. And push, initiated with a prayer, is definitely a powerful combination for successfully achieving your major life goals.